live hands-on example. So this notebook that I have on the screen, it's about introduction to pandas in Python, and it will teach you about using pandas in the Python programming language. So by the end of this exercise, you will know how to use this package to view and access data. But before that, let's understand what is pandas. Pandas is a Python library used for working with data sets. So it has functions for analyzing, cleaning, exploring, and manipulating data. Where did this name pandas come from? The pandas has reference to both panel data as well as Python data analysis, and it was created by Wes McKinney in 2008. Why do we use pandas? Pandas, it allows us to analyze big data, and you can make conclusions based on statistical theories. It can clean messy data sets, you can make them readable, you can make it relevant, because authentic and relevant data is very important in data analytics. Today, we are going to use a data set called top selling albums. Now, let's understand a little bit about the top selling albums data set. Okay, so this data set, we are going to analyze it using the Jupyter notebook. Now, what does this data set contain? This data set has one row for each album, and it has got several columns. Let's understand each of these columns. The first column, artist, gives the name of the artist, album gives the name of the album, and released underscore year is the year in which this album, music album, was released. Then you have a column called length underscore min underscore second. So it gives the length of the column in hours, minutes, and seconds. Genre of the album will give you whether it's of pop or it's classical, it's rock. So whatever is the genre of the album, right? Music underscore recording underscore sales underscore millions gives the music recording sales million in US dollars. And claims underscore sales underscore millions gives the album's claimed sales in millions in USD. A date underscore released will give you the date on which the album was released. The soundtrack indicates that the album is in the movie soundtrack, whether it is a Y or a N. It's a Boolean, yes or no. The rating underscore of underscore friend indicates the average rating from your friends, and it's from 1 to 10. Now let's start with importing the required library, which is pandas. So usually we import pandas as PD. You could as well import it as ABC or banana or whatever, but PD is the standard. So we are going to import pandas as PD, and I would use shift enter, or I can even use this where my mouse is pointing to the run cell, right? So each of this is called as a cell. So I'm now going to run the cell. The moment I do that, after the import command, we will now have access to a large number of pre-built functions classes of pandas, right? So the library is installed in our lab environment. And one way pandas allows you to work with data is what is known as a data frame, right? Again, we use df usually to refer to data frame, right? So in this tutorial, let's go through the process from importing a comma separated variable, right? We read that CSV or comma separated variable or comma separated values into the data frame, right? And we use the path CSV underscore path as a variable name, and it stores the path of the CSV file as an argument to the read underscore CSV function, right? And this result is stored in what is known as df, right? It's a data frame. So let me press shift enter, and then now it has read the data from the CSV file, which is top selling albums.csv, right? Now we use the head method to examine the first 5 rows. By default, the head function or the head method in the data frame examines the first 5 rows of a data frame. So I use the shift enter, and there you see that it has reproduced for us the first 5 rows of the data frame, right? And we use the path of the Excel file and the function read underscore Excel. So again, you can either use CSV file or an Excel file, and the result would be the same. Now let us access the column length and assign it to a new data frame X. So we use the function x is equal to df of length. Notice that I'm using two square brackets, df of square bracket and again a df of length, right? And when I do shift enter, you would be able to see the length column, right? The length column of the data frame that we have. Now, let's look at the figure. It has given us the length of the album in hours, minutes, and seconds. Okay, so x is equal to df of length means it is referencing the fourth column, right, of length. And for each row, it is giving the length of the album in hours, minutes, and seconds. So this is how you can interpret the value of x. Now let's also look at viewing the data and accessing the data. Now we've got the column as a series, right? So remember that earlier we got it as a data frame. So you would have df of two square brackets and then a length, right? In this case, I'm getting the column as a series. Therefore, I don't have two square brackets. I would only have a single square bracket because series is a one-dimensional data, right? Now, if we want to get it as a data frame, we are using two square brackets. And when remember that the series data type is an object data type. But if we want to get the column as a data frame, we assign the column artist, right? And if you look at x, it gives the type of x as pandas.core.frame.dataframe. Right? We can also get a data frame for multiple columns. So in this case, a data frame and the name of the multiple column headers are enclosed in double brackets. So y equal to df of artist, comma length, comma genre, and then y. If I say shift enter, it gives a data frame, right, with the columns artist, length, and genre. And the process is shown in this figure. Y is equal to df of artist, comma length, comma genre. So this data frame has gone and created a table with index ranging from 0 to 7, and then the corresponding columns artist, length, and genre. And one way to access the unique elements in the data frame is what is known as the iloc method, where you can access the first row and the first column as follows. df.iloc 0, 0. So let's look at what this should give us. So for the data frame, the iloc is the method which uses the index location. So if we look at the index location of 0, 0th row and 0th column. So 0th row and 0th column would be this one, right? The artist, where my mouse is pointing to. That's the 0th column. The first column is album. The second column is release. The third column is length, and so on. So df.iloc of 0, 0 should give you Michael Jackson. Let's see whether it does that. There you go. It does Michael Jackson. Now we can access the second row and the first column. So the second row would be the index with 1, and then the first column would be artist column. So